Okay, so today we're going to learn how to solve for x-intercepts, y-intercepts, and the vertex in two different forms. The first form that we're going to look at today is vertex form. And that is just when here's the example problem that we're going to look at today. So that's going to be y is equal to 2 times x minus 5 squared minus 8. Now the first thing we want to solve for is our x-intercepts. Okay, then in order to do that, we need to set y equal to 0. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite this as 0 is equal to 2 times x minus 5 squared minus 8. Now, the second step for this is going to be to solve for x. So let's go ahead and do that. First thing we need to do is we need to add 8 to both sides. So we're going to get 8 is equal to 2 times x minus 5 squared. Then after this, we need to divide both sides by 2. And we're going to get 4 is equal to x minus 5 squared. Now, in order to get rid of this squared and to undo that, we need to take the square root of both sides. And we're going to get, on the right side, just what's left on the inside, so x minus 5. Now, when we take the square root of a number, we're going to get two answers here. So we get plus or minus 2. Okay? Now, let's take a look here. We're going to get two answers. We need to split up this positive 2 into positive 2 and minus 2 into two separate. So we're actually going to have positive 2 is equal to x minus 5, and then negative 2 is equal to x minus 5. Now, to get x alone, we just add 5 to both sides for this one right here, and we're going to get that x is equal to 7. And then we're going to do the exact same thing underneath, add 5 to both sides, and negative 2 plus 5 is going to get us a positive 3. So our x-intercepts are 7 and 3. So let's go ahead and write those up top. We're going to get 7, 0 and 3, 0. And these are our x-intercepts. Okay? Now, the next thing that we need to do is we need to solve for our y-intercepts while we're in vertex form. So y-intercepts. What we're going to do, let's rewrite the problem. Y is equal to 2 times x minus 5. My apologies there. X minus 5 squared minus 8. Now, we said now just like x-intercepts, we know that y-intercepts are going to be on the y-axis. So the first thing we want to do is we want to set x is equal to 0. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to get y is equal to 2 times 0 minus 5 squared minus 8. Now from here, we just solve everything through and get our answer. So we're going to get y is equal to 2 times, this is going to end up being negative 5 squared, which is a positive 25, minus 8. This is going to get us 50, so y is equal to 50 minus 8, and we're going to get y to be equal to 42. And that's our y-intercept right here. So we can come over to the right side and go ahead and rewrite that. So we're going to get 0, 42. And that's it for our y-intercept. The next thing that we need to solve for in vertex form is our vertex. So let's take a look here. Let's go ahead and rewrite the problem one more time. Y is equal to 2 times x minus 5 squared minus 8. Now the vertex is really simple. You just take the opposite of the inside of the inside, and the opposite of the inside is just going to be 5. And then you go ahead and take this number down here, -8. And that's your vertex. So we said pull down outside number, down the constant at the end. Exactly, and you get 5, -8. So let's think here. Let's recap this. So we found our x-intercepts in vertex form right here by doing some algebra by setting y equal to 0. And then go ahead and solve for those x values. And for y-intercepts, we did the similar thing. Set x equal to 0 and just solve for y. And we get 42. And for vertex, we took the opposite, what's on the inside, and just pulled down the constant, and we get 5, -8. Now the next thing we're going to look at is finding x-intercepts, y-intercepts in your vertex when you're in factored form. So factored form, let's go ahead and move on to that. And the problem we're going to look at in factored form is y is equal to x plus 5 times x minus 3. Now, first thing again we want to solve for is our x-intercepts. So let's go ahead and write that down. X-intercepts, same exact thing as before. We want to set y equal to 0. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to get 0 is equal to x plus 5 times x minus 3. And at the same second step, we want to solve for x. So we're going to use the zero product property, right? So if we're multiplying these two together, that means we want to see what makes them 0, right? So let's go ahead and set these up. We're actually going to split these up and go x plus 5 is equal to 0. And then we're going to subtract 5 from both sides. We're going to get x is equal to -5. And then we're going to do the same thing with the one on the right. So x minus 3 is equal to 0. And then add 3 to both sides and get x is equal to 3. Now these are our x-intercepts right here. We are done with that. So we can go ahead and write them down right here at -5, 0 and 3, 0. Awesome. That part's done. Now we can go ahead and move on to our y-intercepts. Let's write the problem down again. Y is equal to x plus 5 times x minus 3. Now the same step again for solving for y-intercepts. We want to set x is equal to 0. So let's go ahead and do that. Y is equal to 0 plus 5 times 0 minus 3. So replace every x you see with 0. So now we're going to come back over here and we want to solve for y. So we know that we can 0 plus 5 is just going to get us 5 times 0 minus 3 gets us -3. So we get our y-intercept to be -15. And that's it for our y-intercept. So we can come over here and write 0, -15. Okay. Now the last thing that we need to solve for in factored form is our vertex. So let's go ahead and write vertex right here. Now solving for your vertex in factored form is going to be a little different. So let's write the problem down one more time. X plus 5 and x minus 3. So when we're in factored form, we actually need to use our x-intercepts. So we're just going to write our x-intercepts right here. X-intercepts are -5, 0 and 3, 0, right? We're going to need those right now. So what you actually do is you need to, let's go ahead and write this right here. Take average of the x-intercepts. So So let's go and do that first. So we just want to take them, -5 plus 3. And to take the average, you just need to divide it by 2. And that's going to get us -2 divided by 2, which just gets us -1. Now, this is the x-coordinate for your vertex. This is your new x-coordinate. We can go ahead and label that x-coordinate. Now, the second step that we need to do once we have that is we need to substitute x value into original equation. So let's go ahead and do that. So we are going to rewrite every time that we see x, every time that we see x, we are going to replace it with -1. So we're going to get y is equal to -1 plus 5 times -1 minus 3. And what happens here, you're going to get y is equal to +4 times -4. And we're going to get that y is equal to -16. And that's your y-coordinate. So we can go ahead and label that one as well. Y-coordinate for your vertex. And all we need to do is we just need to take this -1, this -16, and write it as a coordinate, and that will be our vertex. Write it right here as well, vertex. So after looking at all of this, you see that we found our x-intercepts in vertex form right here. Well, I'm sorry, in factored form. We found our x-intercepts in factored form by setting our y equal to 0 and solving for our x's, and we get -5, 0, and 3, 0. And then we found our y-intercepts by setting x equal to 0, and then solving for our y, and we get 0, -15. Now, we also solve for our vertex by taking the average of our x-intercepts and then substituting that back into the original to simplify and get -1, -16 as our vertex. So today, you learned how to find x-intercepts, y-intercepts, and your vertex in factored form as well as vertex form.